What's a hopeful trajectory for the 21st century, for the rest of it?
The hopeful trajectory is really trying to be as wise and as lucky as our predecessors during the Cold War were. Because the dominant discourse so far about the Cold War was what a horrible thing that Cold War was. What did we do wrong? How did we end up in the Cold War? And I think, especially today, this is a wrong question to ask. The right question to ask is, how did it happen? What did we do so right that for now more than 70 years, we don't have a world war? How come that after World War I, World War II came within 20 years? How come that what helped us to keep the world on the brink but still away from the global war for such a long period of time? How to keep the Cold War cold. That's the biggest lesson that the history of the Cold War can give us. And I don't think we ask the question quite often enough, ask the question that way. And if you don't ask right questions, we don't get right answers.
Yeah, you've written a book, a great book on the Cuban Missile Crisis. And we came very close, not to just another world war, but to a nuclear war, and the destruction of human civilization as we know it. So I guess it's a good question to ask, what do we do so right? And maybe one of the answers could be that we just got lucky. And the question is, how do we keep getting lucky?
Luck is clearly one of the factors in the Cuban Missile Crisis, because what happened there, and there is one of the lessons, is that eventually the commanders at the top, they believe that they have all the cards. They negotiate with each other. They try to see who blinks first in the game of nuclear brinkmanship. The trick is that they don't control fully people on the ground. The most dangerous moment, or one of the most dangerous moments of the Cuban Missile Crisis was the Soviet missile shooting down the American airplane, killing the pilot. An act of war, right? So technically we're already in war. And the order to shoot the missile was given with Moscow having no clue what was going on the ground. Moscow never gave approval for that. And again, I described that in book many times about Kennedy bringing back his wisdom from World War II years. There always will be SOB who didn't get the order or missed things, and that was happening on the American side as well. So people who believe that they're in control really are not in control, and that can escalate. Whether they very often against their wishes. So that is one lesson. But going back to why we're still here, and why the world didn't end up in 1962 is that the leadership, and that's I come to the issue that you strongly believe in, that personalities matter, leaders matter. They were very different, right? Age, education, political careers, understanding what politics are, and so on and so forth.
You mean Khrushchev?
Khrushchev and Kennedy, yes. But they had one thing in common, that in one way, they belonged to the same generation. That was generation of the Bikini Atoll. That was the generation of the hydrogen bomb. The bomb that, unlike the atomic bomb, they knew could destroy the world. And they were scared. They were scared of the nuclear weapons. And they tried to do whatever they could pushing against their advisors or were trying to deal with their anxieties. The first is true for Kennedy, the later maybe for Khrushchev, to make sure that the war between the United States and the Soviet Union doesn't start, because they knew that war would be a nuclear war. So we have a very, very paradoxical sort of situation. The crisis occurred because of the nuclear weapons, because Khrushchev put them on Cuba. But the crisis was resolved, and we didn't end in the Third World War because of the nuclear weapons, because leaders were afraid of them. And that's where I want to put emphasis. It's not that the nuclear weapons created crisis or solved the crisis. It's basically our perception of them. And we are now in the age after the Cold War era, with the new generation of voters, with the new generation of politicians. We don't belong to the generation of bikini at all. We maybe know what bikini is, but we think that this is
a different thing. Yeah,
that this is something else, and it's very important.
It's so fascinating how that fades into memory. That the power and the respect and fear of the power of nuclear weapons just fades into memory, and then we may very well make the same mistakes again.
Yes, we can.
Another leader said that, I believe, but about a totally different topic. Well, like you said, I'm also glad that we're here, more as a civilization, that we're still seem to be going on. There's several billion of us, and I'm also glad that the two of us are here. I've read a lot of your books. I've been recommending it. Please keep writing. Thank you for talking today. This was an honor.
Thank you very much, Lex. It was a pleasure.